Hello all, it's Al here from MBX, Mind Body Xtra. Time. It's time to talk about time. So it's a very misunderstood subject, time. In fact, it's so misunderstood, we believe it. When I say we believe it, I'm not saying we get rid of it. But we just got to realise that time is a construct. Time has been constructed by us. If it hasn't been, which is time here, to understand time, where is yesterday? I'd like you to take me there because you know what? Wouldn't it be great to time travel? Go back and look at yesterday, and apparently we may be able to do this one day, but presently we can't. But one day we might be able to go so fast, apparently we can go back or forward in time. So the technology could allow us to do that. But even then, you'll realise by the time I finish today, there's that word again, that it's only a construct. This past, this present, and this future is all bound up in now. There's no golden arches to the nows of yesterday. There's no golden arches to going into tomorrow because when we're actually there, it's now. You know, I talk to a lot of people, and I was talking to someone recently offshore, and a person very much struggling with the concept of time. And I said, well, what's the time there? And the person said, well, it's, 6 a.m. Monday. And, 6 p.m. Monday. I said, well, it's actually 9 p.m. Tuesday here. What does that say to you? That says that we're crossing time zones, etc. But we're actually talking to each other now. How can it be anything else but now? You see, that's the whole thing about time. We give so much attention to this construct that we've called time. We believe it's real. Not that I'm going to be saying we don't, comply by what we've constructed, because it'd be senseless. We wouldn't be able to agree to catch up and talk to one another. So you see, this time is simply that. It is a construct. As I'm speaking to you, I can't take any comments. There'll be comments coming through from people watching this, but I won't take any comments now. I'll answer you later in good time. So if you've got anything to ask me questions about, do so, and I'll get back to you later. Okay, so we're going back to time. Why are we so preoccupied with time? Because we're actually, from very early age, told to be on time, do everything in time, the timing is just right, etc. And we start to believe and give attention to this concept of time. We have watches, very sophisticated ones, which become jewellery, and of course it's thrust in our faces, be on time, etc., etc. So that's what's happened to us from a very young age. At some stage we started to divide up the ongoing now, which is the reality, into these segments that we actually call time. Yesterday, today, tomorrow we call time. But in actuality, when you really closely look at time, there is no such thing, because it's all happening now. I said to someone even this morning, I said, tell me what you're going to do today. And he said, later on in this afternoon. And I said, this afternoon will be, when you get there, what will it be? And he said, now. It was very, very advanced to say that. It'll be now when I'm there, and it's just a word to indicate that the fluidity of the changing now takes us into what we call the afternoon. And of course, the sun complies with that, the sun starts to go down, etc., etc., and it's reinforced by us. The more we give time attention, the more real it seems. We don't give attention to the fluidity of the now. And having said the fluidity of the now, having said that to you, it's changing. So we can't even be now. It's a very, very hard thing to be now. A lot of people say, well, there's a lot of power in now. Well, in reality, how can there be any power in now when it's constantly changing? You see, this constant change is the only reality. It's not so much the time. That all happens now. The timing is happening now. Everything is happening now. This is not the practice rounds. This is actually the tournament of life, happening now. It doesn't divide up into past, present and future. Time doesn't do that. Nature doesn't do that. Nature just does what it is naturally. Nature doesn't say it's yesterday. Nature doesn't say it's tomorrow. Nature doesn't say it's 11:20 when I started today, Melbourne time. It doesn't say that at all. It's just the now that is continually flowing, and nature does what it does. It gives energy to all of the aspects of nature, including you and I. Nature doesn't say I give more energy to that person over there because that person believes in time. Nature just gives energy unconditionally. You see, the unconditionality of nature is now. If we get our attention to now, everything is fine. In time we start to get this. But today I could be planting a seed, and over time it will grow. But realising that the time that I'm speaking is really only a construct. So you see, this concept of time is a good one to have, and it's a good one. We don't want to lose it. I want you to be on time with me every week, but in reality, don't stress with it. Don't say you haven't got much time. Don't say you've got too much time. Just realise that everything is in time now. Now is the only time to really be aware of. And even having said that, it's gone. So be very, very aware. Here's my word again, I say to you every week. Be very aware of the now. And the time will fit into the now. Okay, but it's not time, it's now, constantly changing. And if we give our attention to that, we grow our awareness of that. Energy flows, remember, where attention goes. Give your attention to awareness, and you'll be aware of eternity. Eternity is constant. Eternity never ends. It never had a start. There is no time in eternity. It's constantly going. So give your attention to this. From today on, we're planting a seed together. Give your attention to the awareness of the ever-changing fluidity of the moment, and time is included in that. So you have got time because there is no such thing. There's just the flowingness of the now. Included in time is the concept of birth, life and death. We applaud one end of time, someone arriving, being born. It's lovely. I've got a lot of grandchildren and I've got children myself. It was a lovely time. But you see, that is really non-existent to nature. Nature just is changing constantly, which we can call birth. Nature is changing constantly. We call that life. And nature is changing constantly. We call that death. We love one end of this time scale. We dread the other end of the time scale, called death. So therefore, nature's life we find very hard to live. My message to you today is to be aware of this. Be aware of nature. Nature is natural. You are nature. Nature is eternal. So therefore, if we can really understand awareness, you'll see that awareness is timeless. So therefore, you are awareness, having this experience of listening to me in time, just in time, etc. You're having awareness of doing this. If there was no awareness, you wouldn't be listening. You wouldn't be able to hear. Awareness is your true condition. Everything else is subsequent to that. All of your senses are subsequent to that. Everything is in awareness. It's not the other way around, looking for awareness. You are awareness eternally. I hope that's helped you people out there with the concept of time. But before I go, I've just got to remind you there's a few things coming up in time that I'd like you to remember. So today's subject was simply that one, time. And coming up next week on 11:20 Melbourne time, we're going to talk about next week being the 15th of June, we're going to talk about the blip of weight reduction. How can we use mind power to reduce our weight? Sometimes we can use just mind power to reduce weight. Fascinating subject. Coming up after then, on the 22nd of June, we're going to talk about, same time, 11:20 every week, Melbourne time, we're going to talk about the manager and the coach's mind. That's a very interesting subject because the manager and the coach, some sports they call the coach a manager. The manager and the coach's mind are virtually the same. The following week on the 29th of June, once again, 11:20 Melbourne time, the mind of the master, such as the Buddha, the Jesus and the Prophet, all of the masters that have been and gone and coming, this mind of the master, you'd like to hear about that one. On the 6th of July, 11:20, the week following, 11:20 a.m. Melbourne time again, love. We'll talk about the subject of love, true love, not the love that you think it is. Following then, the 13th of July, 11:20 Melbourne time, Health Unlimited. How can we get health unlimited? It's not so hard, you know. Following that, we talk on the 20th of July, 11:20 a.m. again, Melbourne time, partners. How do we actually treat our partners, and why should we treat them as such? What are partners? And then the following week, the 27th of July, this is a really, really interesting subject, and it's created a lot of interest already because I only put it up today as an event that's coming. This is the projection of energy. How can we project our energy? Do you know what? We're doing it all the time. Here's that word again. We're doing it all the time. And guess what? Here's another word that I use all of the time. We aren't aware of it. We're just not aware we're emitting the energy that we can emit. That'll be a fascinating subject. All of you who are yet to become MBX Elite Plus members, please do so. For the cost of coffee and cookie per month, you can have all of this and more. You can have these type of sessions tailored only to members. Sometimes we even get one-on-ones with members, and they bring up the subjects they'd like to cover. So membership is very inexpensive. You'll have a worldwide network. You'll hear from very many interesting people that I'll interview from across the planet, experts in their field. Very inexpensive. Our programs are all available to you. There's about 10, and it's growing all the time. Each one of those programs is worth 135 Australian dollars just for one program. As a member, you get them all as a part of a membership, all for the cost of coffee and cookie per month. All of you, lovely to see you again. Have a great time. Bye for now.